Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I want to talk to you about how addiction upended and basically destroyed a family. And I'm going to put a link to this article in the description for the video. And it's titled, Grandma's Awesome Family Was Upended by Daughter's Addiction After Surgery. Her warning, this could happen to you. My goodness me, so true. Heather Paxton was about 8 years old when she realized her family appeared different from the rest. My mum would come around and act kind of miserable, just not right. I'd hear my grandparents or other people whispering about it. So Beth and Don, the Murrays, are among the estimated 2.2 million people in the country who have been raising their grandchildren. Many of them because addiction derailed the usual plans, leaving mothers and fathers unable to step up. I cannot tell you how many grandparents call us because their own children cannot take care of the grandchildren. And I believe there was a documentary, I think it was on Dateline or 2020, one of those shows where they talked about the fact there's an entire generation of grandparents out there who are now being parents for the second time to their own grandchildren because the adult parents have a substance use issue and a mental health issue or whatever the combination is and can't raise their own children. And this is what happened in this particular family. Beth and Don are part of what they call a grand family. And it says here, it still seems bewildering to them, even if it shouldn't, which is a lesson they hope to teach others. Addiction was not in our lives when our kids were growing up, says Beth, 57, a homemaker. Our family was awesome. We went camping a lot, bowling, swimming. We were happy. Let's get into this. Heroin numbs you, makes you feel relaxed, Heather remembers. Life would be so different if I never picked it up. Sure, it starts off as a choice, but it takes over your body, and you have to have it or you will be sick. Heather's struggle, so Heather is the mother who couldn't take care of the child. Heather's struggle with drug dependency shaped her ability to parent her kids. As a mother, I felt worthless. During her 16-year marathon in the chaos of addiction, she's been in and out of jail. She has detoxed, entered recovery, and relapse. She has lost her children to foster care. She has earned a pair of felony convictions for trafficking heroin and possession of dangerous drugs. She's lived on the street and with boyfriends, sugar daddies, and drug dealers. Each time she began abusing again, Heather says, it was because of a toothache. I've had really bad teeth because of the drugs, and I'm scared to death of the dentist. In the 1990s, opioid use in the US became a crisis, along with a shift towards prescription opioids, many of them for pain. And I told you that in 2024, I had my left arm, you can see the scar here, repaired surgically twice. And both times the doctor prescribed me Oxycontin as a pain, for a pain. And I said to the doctor, I said, and a super nice guy, and I said, Doc, you know what I do for work, right? You know that we work with families who have a loved one who's got a long-standing substance use disorder and or mental health issue. I said, I appreciate that you want me to be out of pain. I said, but I'm not taking them. And he prescribed them both times after both surgeries, and both times I flushed them down the toilet. I mean, I see what those kinds of opioids can do, and I'd rather take the pain than take the consequences of using them. In any event, I'm going to put a link to the article in the description of the video. You can read this for yourself. I'm not going to, go over the whole thing, but you can see what, an opioid addiction, really did to this family. I mean, it destroyed the family. Very sad, but this is something that we see regularly in our office. We're talking to families from all over the country about what they're dealing with. And it really can just, be as simple as something, where they started with a pain medication, like I, was prescribed, and it just morphs into just a horrible, drug addiction issue. And now grandparents are taking care of the grandchildren. That probably is going to involve some type of guardianship filing. Here in Florida, grandparents have no rights, but they can file for guardianship so they can start becoming the decision maker. Because as in many cases, not necessarily involving grandparents, if somebody doesn't take control of the situation, guess what happens? The state steps in, and the state can step in a situation like this and place the children in foster care. Can you imagine that? Having your own grandchildren placed in the foster system? No, we can't do that. So if that's what we're worried about, and we should be worried about that, then grandparents need to get the authority to start making decisions for their own grandchildren, and that involves filing for guardianship. So if you're a grandparent out there or grandparents and you want to have that conversation about what that looks like, give us a call. We can talk to you about that and what options, might be available to you. If you're a family out there and you've got a loved one, not necessarily a grandchild, who's dealing with a long-standing behavioral health issue, we'd like to talk to you about what options may or may not be available to you, legal and non-legal. Because legal isn't always the answer. And if it's not, well, we'll tell you. If we can't, if we don't have an option for you, we'll tell you that too. And if you're a family out there who's dealing with an issue and I haven't made a video about that, let me know. Post it in the comments. I'll make a video for you. Because if it's affecting your family, it's probably affecting somebody else's. And I would be interested to hear that if you're a family who's dealt with an issue like this, I'd like to hear about it. I mean, share it with the rest of us if you're comfortable doing so. If you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. If you want more of this content, which I make for you pretty much on a daily basis, so you get the information you need, please subscribe to the channel. And with that said, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.